Welcome to FetCast. I am your host, KingHulk. Thank you for joining me for the very first FetCast. I am here today by myself. Figured I'd start this one off solo. So let's just jump right into this one. When I got into the lifestyle, I just stumbled in because I was a horny kid in college, was a virgin, and I just sat on my computer all night in Yahoo chat rooms, back when Yahoo still had chat rooms. God damn, I am unprofessional. I've tried recording this thing, this is honestly my 20th, 30th take. I can't even remember. Something always comes up. I lose track. It is hard to do this by yourself. I am in a room alone. I got no one to feed off of. It's just a man with his thoughts and a microphone and a computer. And do I even want to try to be funny? I want this to be an educational podcast. I want to do interviews where people just sit on and just shoot the shit with me, talk about their journey into the lifestyle, which I plan to talk about mine on here, along with, stories from my personal life, where I've gone right with the lifestyle, where I've gone wrong with it, where I want to go, where I used to be. That's pretty much what I want to do with this. There are plenty of podcasts out there for people to listen to, but not too many lifestyle ones. That's one reason why I wanted to start this up. And I wanted to start this last year, but I kept putting it off because one reason or another. But now I am here. I am trying. But it's hard. Life gets in the way. I have a wife, kids, girlfriend, etc. It's complicated, and I don't even have a job. There are a lot of people out there. They have the family, a full-time job, and they try to do what they can in the lifestyle. And even then, life just keeps adding up and piling on, and you're listening to this. Somehow you've been able to do all that and find the time to listen to me, so pat yourself on the back, because honestly, I don't even think more than 5 people are going to listen to this thing, but yet I'm recording. I don't know, maybe it's something to pass the time, something to do. But the lifestyle is one thing I like. Not just sex, not just beating people. It's the meeting people that I enjoy. For years, I always talked about with friends is it's hard to make friends as an adult. When you look at the premise of making friends, when you're a kid, you go to school, you're forced to be with these people, you make friends. Now as an adult, if you want to make new friends, you have a job where, you're forced with people you don't know. But with this lifestyle, since I started going to local Munches and meeting strangers, I'm in an environment where I don't feel forced to meet them, but you get to meet some really awesome people. And the lifestyle is just a jumping off point to connect everybody. And it's good. I spent over a year RSVPing to my local Munch before I actually finally got the stones to actually go. And after my first one, I was hooked. And I just wish that I didn't waste the time RSVPing as I might go. Instead, I should have just gone. On FetLife all the time, you see people talk about they join a site, but then they can't find anyone who wants to do anything with them, so they assume the site's a joke, and they leave. But what the new people don't seem to understand is that the website FetLife is a tool. It's a tool to find your local Munches, to find events, stuff to do. It's not a hookup site. You can use it like that, but if you do, you're not going to find too many people willing to meet a total stranger to go to their house in the middle of the night to get beat by him. You're not going to find that. But you will find a community, and that's one thing I'm really lucky about. I've stumbled into a great local community just by going to a Munch. You go to one Munch, you'll find out about others in the area, and you'll want to go to those too. It's filled with fascinating and unique people, but there are just things you have to avoid doing along the way. One, you gotta not be the creepy guy in the room that just sits in the corner and just stares. Don't want to do that. You want to actually talk to people. What's the point in going to a Munch if you're not going to talk? And I know I can say that right now because I am alone by myself right now just talking. But when you see me at a Munch, I only talk to people right next to me because as extroverted doing a podcast may seem, I am very much an introvert. I like to know people before I actually talk to them. But how can you get to know people without talking to them? Well, thanks to the internet, you can just type away, text message away. But it takes a lot for me to actually want to invest the time into getting to know somebody in person. And that's one thing the site does. It gets you to talk about the boring stuff of your life. Like, hi, my name is Steve. Or, I like to read books on the weekend, the boring stuff. And then you get to get that out of the way and get a sense that you actually know someone somewhat before you actually meet them at a Munch. But the idea of making new friends as an adult, it's kind of absurd when you just look at the idea of what a friend is. You find someone you like, and you want to hang out with them more. It's not like you can walk up to someone and be like, hey, it was nice meeting you today. Let's just hang out more. Here, give me your number. Let's hang out more. I mean, it's different if it's like, it's just awkward for a guy or for, people that you just met in general for the first time and be like, hey, we should hang out some more. I mean, it's not like you're trying to ask them out on a date or anything, but I mean, just as an adult, I always found it hard to meet people. But when the common interest that everyone has is kink, it's easier to talk to them, and I don't know why. It's just, when you look at kink and the community, BDSM, I feel as if this is going to be kind of hard to put in words without it sounding weird. Everyone should be in the lifestyle. We all call people that aren't in the lifestyle vanillas because, we consider them to be plain. Really, it's not so much as, they're vanillas or they're plain. It's more of they want to keep everything in the bedroom. And even, that's how I am. I would go out to play parties, but for the most part, I like to keep the more intimate stuff to the bedroom. Because everyone, vanilla or not, has some kinks. It's just whether or not you're the type of person to actually just admit it, find a whole community that's built around it, and then meet friends that way. Like, some of my best friends I have met from the lifestyle. And if you use FetLife as a tool the correct way, you can meet the most dedicated people in your life through Munches. Me and my family, we've been through a lot. We've had some personal events happen, and the community as a whole just steps up and they're there for you. But then when you look at your Facebook friends, something like that happens, very few will step forward the way my local community has stepped up for us. That was one thing that I felt that I needed to share with this podcast is don't look at FetLife as a hookup site, a dating site. Think of it as a real friend finder, not adult friend finder, but a real friend finder. And if you do that, I think you're going to have a good time with the site. And not in a sexual way, just as a whole. And I think one problem I am having with recording this podcast is I have a feeling that right now, as it starts, only my friends are going to be the ones listening. And I feel as if I'm not saying anything that is worth their time in saying. Who I want to aim this podcast for is the new people. I want, when people join the site, I want this podcast to be the first thing they go to as advice on helping them through FetLife or the lifestyle in general. Because when people join the community, I want them to come, I want them to have a fun time, I want them to stay. I don't want them to feel as if they're being excluded. I want them to feel welcomed. They need new people. They need to do the work also to get the most out of FetLife. So I'm hoping new people that listen to this podcast, I'm hoping they can really get the message as use the site as a tool for Munches. Because it's a social network, but it's a community. And the only way to explore your local community is to get out in it. And the easiest way to get out into your local community is the Munches. Munches are key. Without Munches, you're not going to find play parties. In the summertime, we do parties, but we don't let people that don't show up to Munches or people that we don't actually know attend to it. Because if you put up a party for anyone to go to and anyone can show up, you're going to get good eggs and you're going to get bad eggs. But the bad eggs are going to spoil it for everybody. So that's why there's vetting. There's always vetting for parties. And the easiest way to get vetted is to go to Munches. I cannot stress that enough. Munches. Go to Munches. Meet people. Network. And after you do that, you'll hear about the parties. You'll get the invites. You'll be vetted. Vetting's a lot easier when you ask, hey, can I go to your party? And you're asking someone that you see every month at the same Munch. And I only know my little corner of the world. There's plenty of Munches in my state. I don't know how it is when you go out to other states. But if you go and you look and you're not seeing a local Munch, start one. Start one yourself. It's not that hard. Go on, create a new group. Find a place where you can have somewhat private section of a restaurant and start a monthly Munch. At first, 1 or 2 people may only show up, but hey, that's 1 or 2 more people that you now know in real life that you can actually talk to. And from there, it will just snowball. It will get bigger and bigger. And that's what you want. You want a community that grows, a community that gets bigger and bigger. Because the bigger it gets, the better. With Munches, the more people, the more chances of actually knowing people that you're going to connect with. So that's the lesson for this week's FetCast. Find a Munch and go to it. In fact, I'm going to make that a homework assignment. As you're listening, decide within the next 2 weeks, you will go to a Munch. Or if you can't find a local Munch, create one. And when I say local, I'm not saying 10 minutes down the road. Sometimes you might find a Munch to be an hour, hour and a half away. It's worth the trip. Go to it. But if you can't, make one yourself. That's your homework assignment. Until next time, stay kinky.